Hey everybody, you're still here. Fantastic. You're doing wonderful. Proud of you. Now, we're going to jump in and we're going to learn about values and beliefs. Here's why they're so key. Remember in the last section we said you need to learn how to deprogram yourself? One way you can do it is through self-exploration. Look at your values and beliefs. Your values and beliefs are going to determine 95% of the actions you take. Here's the question. Are they the right values and the right beliefs? You have to know. These are literally the driving forces in your life. They are driving your life. And it's like you're not even behind the wheel. Because remember, you were programmed and you didn't examine it. Now we got to go back through and re-examine it, look at it, judge it, see if it's the way we want to be, the values and beliefs that we want to hold, and then move forward. We'll keep the ones we like, and we'll get rid of the ones that we don't like. It's the only decent way to live, right? So, values and beliefs. Remember we said beliefs are a belief system. So because they're BS, they have to be rigorously examined. So, there's a lot of different areas. I just put down some key areas here that I just kind of picked at random, but there's thousands of them. But at least go through the primary ones. So what are your values, what are your beliefs around money? And everything sometimes is based on the alternative. So you want to have time to go out and get money, but you also want to have time with the next one, family. Well, I've got values and beliefs around family, I've got values and beliefs around money. If you ever want to see somebody in conflict, this is one of the major life conflicts. You'll see it in every individual, you'll see it in every TV drama, in every movie. People trying to decide between family and money, family and money. What do I do? What's the right balance? How should I do it? And guess what? They always feel like they're doing it what? Wrong. They're doing it wrong. And a lot of the people that feel they're doing it right, you're looking at them and saying, damn, he's doing that wrong. He's doing it wrong. He's going to get hurt. I can see this coming. So, look at money, family, honesty, hard work, trust, your honor, the nature of man. Are people good? Are they inherently good? Are they inherently bad? Is there just a boatload of gray? You know, what is it? Look at what you deserve. Sometimes you don't think that you deserve enough. Other times you think you deserve too much. They're both errors. Certain things you think you deserve, you don't, and certain things you think you don't deserve, you probably do. So there's a lot of errors around what you deserve. Politics are a major area of confusion. Why? Politics is designed around lying to you. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Green Party, undecided. Everybody's lying to you. Here's how you can tell. Their lips are moving. May the best liar win. They're there to use tactics of manipulation. They have coaches teaching them all these psychological techniques. They hire crazy people like me with multiple degrees to figure out how you can lie to the American public. Therefore, people will sit there and they'll argue back and forth with their friends over their politics, and they have no idea what they're talking about. Probably both people, as you listen to them in the room, if you're wise enough to get through the lies, will realize that both of them are wrong. Now here's the third thing that's going on in the room. You're sitting across the room, you're listening to them, you're doing exactly what I said, you're seeing the flaws in both their arguments, and there's a third flawed person in the room you didn't account for. You've been lied to in politics. I've seen so many people get excited like about a candidate, and I said, do you know this candidate? Do you know who they are? Have you ever had even lunch with them, one conversation with them? No. Then where'd you get your information on this person? Newspapers, which get paid to lie to you, TV that gets paid to lie to you, magazines that get paid to lie to you, pundits that get paid to lie to you, and then the politicians themselves that get paid to lie to you. There's nobody that's getting paid to not lie to you. So politics is a weird area where our values and beliefs are virtually all pure BS. Why? Because we're not getting any accurate information from anybody. It's about the one thing we can be sure of. Religion is very, very similar. Virtually every religion says, I have the one true God. There's something in excess of 1,000 different religions. I guarantee you, if that's true, 999 of them are going to be very upset when they find out they don't have the one true God. And religion is based on old stories. Even the Bible, the Christian Bible, was written over hundreds and hundreds of years by multiple authors. They say it's the Word of God. No, it's not. It's the Word of man. It's all from memory. It was written by the scholars have figured out a minimum of 36 people, and they keep finding new ones over hundreds and hundreds of years. The Vatican is filled with stories that fill rows and rows of bookshelves that were in the Bible at one point and have been pulled out. So the Bible as you see it isn't even the Bible, but your religion is based on it. Then say you're like a die-hard religious person. If 100 people read the Bible, you'll get 100 interpretations. All 100 of them can't be right. So this is another area. I'm not saying religion is right, wrong, indifferent, anything. I'm not talking about politics is right or wrong or anything. I just want you to see the thinking can't possibly be right. My job here is to show you how deceptive your own thinking is and infer ways in which you cannot get deceived. Like the next one, fairness. If you think politics and religion is controversial, try fairness. What is fair? Most people don't even know what fair is. I tell people fair is an event in Tampa. They have the Tampa Fair. It's great. They got a tractor pull, and you can get cotton candy and go on the Ferris wheels, and there's all kinds of fun things to do at the fair, but it's about the only fair you're going to see. Why? Because from the age of 0 to about 18, before you leave the home, we run around and we try to make everything fair, and then it never is after that. The closest thing you get to fair in life is that you can choose your own actions. Where things are unfair, you can try to make them more fair. You can work the percentages. You can try to manipulate things a little bit to make them a little more fair. But fairness disappears when you leave the home. It was an illusion that the first 18 years of your life we try to give to you, and it just doesn't exist. It's very, very rare. So fairness is confusing as hell. Truth. We'll do a little section on truth and what you think is truth versus what isn't. Truth, there's actually a philosophy, it's called Zen. It's the Asian version of science. They look at something and they drill down, they look at it from every perspective until they absolutely, positively, incontrovertibly know that something is true. And when you use the Zen philosophy, when you drill down to try to find something that you ultimately know can't be anything but true, you will find that 99.9%, probably 99.999% of everything that you thought was true can't be proved and therefore probably isn't true. It's mind-blowing. To your own satisfaction, this isn't somebody else saying, oh, this is wrong, this isn't true. This is you alone in a room by yourself drilling down and figuring it out, and you go, I can't know that that's true. Or I just discovered it isn't true. Why? Because instead of just going with my programming, I sat down and I examined it. That's why Zen is awesome. That's one way to free your mind. That's why those people are called the enlightened. Because if 99.9% of everything you believe isn't true, you know what they do? They eliminate that. And they stick with the 1/10 of 1% that is true and try to build upon that. And they are enlightened. It's like if you had a 100-pound weight and I took all but like the last 2 ounces out. You would be what? Lightened. So enlightenment is not you become this genius. You just realize what isn't true and you take that out of your repertoire and you're lightened or enlightened. I'll bet most of you didn't even know that's what enlightenment means. People think it means learning or knowledge. No, most of it's getting rid of old, negative, and incorrect knowledge. Respect. That's an interesting concept. That's something you need to take a look at. How much do you need? Who should give it? There's a lot of confusion around respect. But let's drive on. Now, people will have certain values and belief systems. Please remember, belief systems are BS. A lot of people have BS that makes their life less livable. You know, people have BS like this first example. People should never yell at me. Really? They should never yell at you? Like when you're about to get hit by a car, I shouldn't yell, car! When you're about to get hit in the head with something, duck! I should never yell at you? People say, well, that's not what I meant. I meant, say something mean to me. Guess what? Mean people are going to be mean. They're going to yell at you. People should yell at you. Every mean person should yell at you. Every nice person probably shouldn't. And guess what? They probably won't. Unless you really piss them off. Should is a bad word. People are going to do what they do. The only freedom we have in life is I get to do what I want to do. You get to do what you want to do. And sometimes that isn't even true. But people are never going to follow your belief systems. They are your BS, and I don't follow your BS, and you don't follow my BS. Therefore, our BS is very often going to come into conflict. This is why the divorce rate's so high. This is why people argue. People say this is why we go to war. I don't know if that's true, but hey, you could make a good argument for it, right? Here's another belief. If you do good things will happen to you. Who the hell told you that, and why'd you believe them? That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Sometimes, if you do good things will happen to you. Sometimes you do good things and horrible things happen to you. You don't know. It's BS. Next one. If you work hard, you'll get ahead. That's a tendency, but not a truism. It's not always true. Good things come to those who wait. No, most good things come to people who hustle while other people wait. Some belief systems are actually true, but they're only true in certain circumstances. There's sometimes where you should be patient. There's other times where you should be impatient. There's sometimes where you should be tolerant. There's sometimes where you should be intolerant. There's sometimes where you should really hustle and take massive action. And there's other times when the absolute perfect thing to do is nothing. And that blows people's minds. Look at this next one. A penny saved is a penny earned. A lot of beliefs are in conflict. Penny saved is a penny earned. But you got to spend money to make money. Well, which one is it? They're in conflict. Much of what we believe is in conflict. You might believe both. So sometimes it's simply a process. You say, well, Mr. Paul, Professor Paul, it's all about, well, this is meant like this, and this is meant like this, and this is just for this circumstances, and this is in this time, and this is for this certain case, or situation, and this is for a different one, and that's how it works. But I'll tell you, if you look at them, a lot of times they're in conflict in the exact same situations. Now, we talked a little bit about the Zen, so I want to teach you an interesting piece of psychology. Remember we said that your thoughts create your feelings, create your actions. So here's an old Zen philosophy, old Buddhist philosophy. Goes back to Buddha, I think around 630 BC. So 630 years before Christ, we're talking 3,000 years ago plus. 2,600 years plus. Wow, that's a long time ago. But he came up with cognitive behavioral psychology, which is your thought creates your feelings, creates your actions. Now that became cognitive behavioral therapy and later REBT around 1954. We finally figured it out about 50, 60 years ago. Buddha had it nailed down 2,500 years ago, and I'm sure many people thought of it before that. But here's the Zen belief. Here's the Buddhist belief. We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make our world. Now let me break this down kind of psychologically, scientifically. We are what we think. The thought creates the feelings. All that we are arises with our thoughts. That is the feelings. And all your thoughts, your collection of thoughts, your history, that's you. So that's the middle section. With our thoughts, we make our world. The thought creates the feeling, which is part of your emotional world. And then your external world, the thought creates the feeling, creates the action, which what? Creates your external world. See how he nailed it all down? In 3 sentences, almost the entirety of psychology, reality, and your life. These are like words of wisdom that you can look through over time, and over time, over years, you'll look at these and you'll see new ways of looking at it. That's how cool this is. Save this, tack this up on your wall, print this out. Now, one last concept about values and beliefs, and a little bit about yourself, well, a lot about yourself. Everything I am experiencing reflects myself. They say, be the change you want to see in the world. Why? Because that's a good role model thing to do. But also, as you change, people will change in response to you. So, everything you experience reflects myself. What does that mean? It means 2 things. 1, what I'm experiencing is based on my mental filters, my way of looking at the world. You know, almost like people say, oh, you're looking through rose-colored glasses. Because of that rose filter, everything looks what? Rosy. It isn't rosy, but you will experience it that way. Why? It's a reflection of yourself. If you have a rosy outlook and you look out on the world, my mom was like this. She always thought everything was wonderful. She wasn't ignorant that there was pain and there was suffering and things going on, but she was a very positive person, and she wasn't faking it. Therefore, everything in some way, shape, or form was positive and or, you know, it was a negative, but it served her later on. And therefore, it was what? Kind of a positive after the fact. That the way she saw the world was a reflection of herself. Literally the way she saw people, situations, the way she assessed things, the way she felt things. Everything in her world was a reflection of her. You are the same way. You can see this in really negative or pessimistic people. They're like, oh my God, it's all doom and gloom, and oh yeah, and look at this, and you know, they're scanning the environment and finding all these negative things, and they're telling you about it, and blah, 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 blah. And everything is negative. Why? It's not what's out there in the world so much as how you look at it. How do you look at it? Based on who you are. So your view of the world is not based on the world as it is. It's your view of it based on who you are. If you want to change the way you see the world, you have to change yourself internally. Then the world will change. Never go out in the world and try to change it. It's fine the way it is. You change you, and then everything will change for you. That's my final tip for you today, and I'll see you in the next section.